Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while since I filmed a video, and that's mainly because I'm having a lot of issues in my garden this time around. So if you remember, I said last time that I would be planting peas and then I would also be planting potatoes. Well, I was afraid that it was getting a little bit too cold for me to plant potatoes because at night the nighttime temperatures were going into the low 50s and high 40s, and with everything else that's been going on, which I will be showing you in today's video, I just figured maybe I'd wait a few more weeks, like 2 more weeks, until I did that. So that's what I'm going to be doing in today's video. Is I'm going to be planting the potatoes. I keep saying tomatoes instead of potatoes, but I'm going to be planting the potatoes. I already planted my peas. I think I planted my peas about 2 weeks ago now, and I will show you what they're looking like. I'm also going to take you on a tour of everything that I've done so far in my garden, because I've done a few things here and there. And then I'm also going to share with you the problems that I'm having. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see, this is where some of my plants are. This is the peas that I just showed you that I had planted, I want to say 2 weeks ago now. This is what they're currently looking like. They're right on the border. A lot of them that I had planted did not end up germinating. I'm not sure why, especially over on that side. Don't know why that happened, but I'm okay with what I have for now, because I also have the ones that are in the bucket still growing over there. I will get to that later on in the video. So as far as my kale goes, my kale and Swiss chard were supposed to be in this bed. They were supposed to be, this side was supposed to be kale, and then I had one row going down the middle of collard greens, and then this side was supposed to be Swiss chard. So I planted everything, and that was on I think on a Thursday that I planted everything. The next morning I come back and everything was gone. The birds had gotten to all of the Swiss chard, all of it. So I had a lot of Swiss chard. You guys, if you guys remember my first video or my second video when I showed you the sprouted seedlings, I had a lot of seedlings. So I was able to plant more, and then I came back the day after that. So now on Saturday morning I come back and everything is gone again. So I was really frustrated, and I kind of gave up on the Swiss chard, and I decided, you know what, maybe I shouldn't grow Swiss chard, because if this is how everything is gonna go, you know, I don't, and a lot of the kale was also gone, but not all of it. So I've replanted the kale, but what I've decided to do is I've decided to just grow Swiss chard from seed. So I planted Swiss chard from seed a few, actually that was yesterday. But then I also put in this netting. You guys, I don't know if you guys can pick up on the netting, but there's netting to prevent the birds. And ever since I put on the netting, everything is going okay. On this side here, I have my collard greens. I have 3 rows of collard greens, and they're 3 across. Some of them got eaten by birds and I had to replace them, but some of them are doing fine. And then over here, I have my tomatoes. I have 4 tomatoes per cage, because I wasn't sure whether they would survive, especially with the cold nights. So I transferred them over. And I'm accounting for the fact that some of them might not survive, so that's why I have 4 per cage. And then I have 2 little plants in the middle over here, and then I have 1 over here and 1 over there. So there's all this empty space here in the garden beds, and what I'm gonna have here is I'm gonna have all the peppers in this section here. And the reason why I haven't planted them yet is because I wasn't sure whether the animals, whatever the birds that were eating my Swiss chard and my kale, were also going to get to the peppers. So what I did was I put these out just for testing to see if they were going to be eaten or destroyed before I actually plant them into the ground. And I did that with the tomatoes also over there. Those are tomatoes in those little containers over there, and those did fine. So that's when I transferred them out here, and I just put the peppers out I think 2 days ago, and so far they're looking good. So that's going to be another project that I'm going to be working on later this week, is transferring all the peppers out of the seed starting trays, because they're still in there, and then I'm going to be transferring them into the bed. So the last update I wanted to give you guys was on the corn and the peas that I had planted inside. Now, as far as the peas go, let me zoom you in a little bit so you can see. I have a cat, her name is Luna, and when they were in the house, she really dug up the buckets, and I didn't notice until like all the plants, you know, like almost all the plants were all gone. But yeah, she dug up the peas, and now I only have a couple of pea plants left. And that's why I actually decided to plant the ones that are in the bed in here, because these were all gone. But as far as the corn goes, the corn did really well. Even if she was digging into the corn as well, but the corn ended up surviving. I only lost 1 plant per bucket. So I originally had 10 plants in a bucket, and now I only have 4, so I have 8 plants altogether. But overall, I'm really happy with how the corn is doing. I'm also happy with how the peas are doing. Some of them are starting to, some of the plants are actually starting to flower now. I don't think I can zoom you in enough for you guys to see, but I have some flowers in some of them. But yeah, overall, this is how the peas and the corn that I planted inside are doing. So one last update that I wanted to give you guys was on the cucumbers. So I ended up transplanting the cucumbers from the trays back here, and I put them in these containers, and I was acclimating them to the sun, to being out in the sun, by bringing them outside every day for, I want to say, about 4 hours. I would bring them out around noon and bring them inside by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But for some reason they got sunburned, and I'm going to zoom in so I can show you a picture or a video of what they look like up close. But they ended up getting really sunburnt, especially the ones in these 2 containers. And I mean, now I have them outside permanently, but I want to say for 2 weeks or so, I was doing the method where I was only bringing them outside for a few hours a day, and they still ended up getting sunburned, so I'm not sure what's up with that. This container, though, is doing a lot better than the other ones, than these other 2. But yeah, I'm not sure what I did wrong with the cucumbers. I've never grown them from seed before, so I don't know why this happened. I'm just keeping a close eye on them, and if I notice that they're not doing any better than they are right now, I might just have to go to the store and buy seedlings instead of growing them from seed myself, because they really seem like they're struggling out here in the sun. So this is where I'm going to be planting my potatoes. As you can tell, these are crates, and I actually had them lying around the house, and I thought to myself, why not use them as containers for planting my veggies? So what I ended up doing was I lined the bottom with plastic, the same plastic that I was using upstairs in my grow room to prevent the water from getting everywhere. I used some of that, and I lined the bottom with plastic, and then I used garden fabric to do like a second layer, because I didn't want the roots of the plants touching the plastic of the crates, or the plastic, you know, of the lined plastic. So this is what I'm going to be planting them in. I actually have had the soil in the containers for about a week and a half now, because we've had a lot of rain recently. I wanted to see how well they would drain. I did poke holes in the bottom of all the crates just to make sure that there was good enough drainage, and the soil would not get too like watery or too mushy and potentially ruin the potatoes. And so far the draining is really good, and I think it won't be a problem. And if any problems come up, I can just, you know, if there's not enough drainage as the potatoes are growing, I'll just poke more holes on the bottom of the containers. So this is me planting the potatoes. I was actually so excited to find out that there is a variety of potato that is named after me. I'm just kidding. It just shares the same name, but I was very excited to find this variety of potato. I did not know how big they would be coming right out of the bag, because I hadn't opened them until I started filming the video. So I was originally going to do 3 potatoes per crate, because I thought they were going to be a lot smaller. And then I thought about it, and I looked, and I was like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to grow 3 potatoes in each crate. So I walk away and I start over, and I decide I'm going to just do 2 potatoes per crate instead of 3. That gives them a little bit more spacing. And yeah, I'm just putting them in and making sure that they're in a good place where they're not going to be too crowded. So now that I have planted the potatoes, this brings me to the end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Now, I know that I'm having a lot of issues with my gardening this year. And that's not gonna keep me from making the videos. I'll still keep documenting what I'm going through, because at the end of the day, I still want to have a garden no matter what, and I still want to share it with you guys. And if you guys have any suggestions about the cucumbers especially, please leave them in the comment section below, because I'm not exactly sure what's keeping them from growing and being a lot bigger than they are, and what's happening with the leaves kind of looking like they're drying out even though I'm watering them on a regular basis. With that being said, I will see you guys in my next video, and thank you so much for watching. Bye guys!